Welcome to Shielded Voices, the podcast where we break the stigma, build resilience, and support the men and women who serve our communities. I'm Mitch, a dedicated law enforcement professional with over 8 years of full-time experience and a combined 15 years of experience in law enforcement. My journey began as a police cadet, a reserve police officer, and now I am a full-time deputy. I am a defensive tactics instructor, an emergency vehicle operations instructor, and a former drug recognition expert. Now, I'm here to share the conversations that matter the most.
And I'm Brian, a deputy with over 15 years of service. I bring my experience as a defensive tactics instructor, emergency vehicle operations instructor, field training officer, a member of the riot team, as well as a narcotics team as a liaison. I'm also a veteran of the United States Army, and I am passionate about faith, family, and supporting our brothers and sisters in law enforcement.
Together, we're here to share stories, insights, and real talk about the challenges and triumphs of life in law enforcement. Whether it's breaking down the barriers around mental health, reflecting on our own shared experiences, or providing tools for growth and recovery, we're here to have the conversations that matter.
Our goal is simple: to support first responders, foster open communication, and remind everyone in this community that they are never alone. This is a space for growth, connection, and building stronger voices together.
Thank you for joining us. Let's dive into today's episode where we continue to break the silence. Welcome back to Shielded Voices, Mitch and Brian. This is going to be an episode where it's just Brian and I. We don't have a guest scheduled, but it's been a while since we've done this, Brian. Just you and I talking.
It's been, I think, since like episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, maybe I can get a word in since we don't have a guest.
Yeah, fuck you. Everybody out there, all the haters that are like, Brian just keeps running rampant over this. I just hijacked it from Mitch. Like, shut the fuck up.
Oh man, yeah, he didn't hijack it. Mainly, if we're interviewing a guest and you and the guest are talking, and I have a question that pops up in my head, it either is the conversation is fleeting and we moved on to the next conversation, or you always ask the question.
Right.
And
right. And like we've covered before, like you even said on I think a midweek we kind of covered it where, you prefer to just kind of be behind the scenes and do the tech stuff and let me do the conversational stuff. Yeah. And that's kind of your thing. If you have questions, you'll pop in. But yeah, there's some people that ran their mouth and amongst peers and talking shit, but whatever, don't care.
But he was educated.
Hopefully.
He was educated. Yeah, that's all we can hope for.
Yeah. But
we got a couple things to talk about. Brian just got back from Arizona, so we got that to talk about. We got that exciting news that's going to blow our hair back.
I don't know about all that. You get me bring it up, make it sound like it's some big bad. Like, no, we're being funny. It's not some. I mean, it's exciting for me, but no, it's just I just want to be like I've always been. I just want to be fully transparent and truthful about things, and we'll do that, and we'll cover all that. So
we'll talk about where we are in life right now, and what I've been working on, what I've been dealing with. So
let's do that. Let's talk about that first. Let's talk about, and obviously we don't want to get too much into the weeds, because you're still dealing with some things bureaucratically, right? But
correct.
But basically, so Mitch has been on workers' comp. For a workers' comp injury for PTSD, PTSI. And this is kind of new territory for, I think, the agency that you work for.
Agency and the insurer.
And the insurer. Okay. Yep. So I think they're just maybe working through some kinks, but it kind of feels like they're fucking with you, right? Like it kind of feels like they're pushing for things, and it just doesn't feel good.
Man, it was all rainbows and unicorns to begin with. The adjuster with this agency that we go through was the nicest person, has helped me out and continues to help me out. And then I called her day before yesterday asking for the date of acceptance, and she asked me if I was represented, and I told her that I was going to be. And then her entire attitude changed.
She would represent legally, like by a lawyer?
Correct. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Her entire attitude changed, and she said, well, if you are represented, we can no longer speak to each other. And she's been super helpful. So I think it's just this company puts on a facade. And then talking to my therapist today, she said, well, they're pretty slimy and in doing business as far as settlements. Like they send me to an IME, independent medical exam, and it's either could be unfit for duty, fit for duty, not medically stable, or yeah, he has PTSD. Here's a settlement. It could be a whole host of things that I'm stressing out about.
Right. And it's not like you're seeking a settlement. You're not seeking.
No,
you just like you needed some time off to get healthy. It's just like if you broke your arm at work.
right.
It's no different.
Right.
I don't know why they're putting so much other weird shit in there. Like just let you heal and come back to work.
It could be as simple as that, but it always has to be more complicated.
Of course.
Especially once you start talking about money and insurance and payouts for the rest of your life. Who knows? But yeah.
But again, but you're not even. That's my point, man. Is you're not even seeking that. Like it's not like you're suing. No. You're not looking for a payout or a disability. You needed time off to heal from an injury. That's what workers' comp is for. Because you got injured on the job. Now you're ready to go back to work.
Yeah, I think they look at PTSD as a long-term diagnosis. As Brian likes to say, PTSI, post-traumatic stress injury. But they look at it as a long-term diagnosis, which means, oh, Mitch could be going to therapy for 10, 15, 20 years. Why don't we just pay him out and cover that 10, 15, 20 years in therapy expenses, co-pays for medications? So that's what I've heard they've done in the past, is they will cut a check. And I've been told that if you cash that check, the case automatically gets closed. They say, oh, he cashed it, so we're done. Shake their hands, walk away.
Yeah, well, don't. I mean, if it comes to that, don't, right? It's like...
Yeah, that's a conversation I'm going to have is, do I take this lump sum or do I continue to get treatment and get paid as needed or reimbursed as needed?
But here's my... And I don't know how this works. Here's my thought is, okay, cool. So you've taken your time off, right? Your mental health leave. You got straight. You've been working your ass off in therapy. A lot of people don't know that. Like you've really put the work. That I'm proud of you for that, man. I really am. You've really put a lot of work into that. And okay, again, it's an injury. Now I'm ready to go back to work. And okay, so you go to therapy once every 2 weeks or once a week. You have insurance,
right?
Insurance covers that. Like your benefits cover that. It's not like you're not seeking a workers' comp claim to do that, to get paid for that, right? That's what your insurance is for. That was
never my intention when I first filed this claim. It was never my intention. My intention had always been, I just want workers' comp to understand that, yes, I've diagnosed PTSD, and for them to help cover medications, appointments, let's say travel to my therapist who's in Eastern Oregon. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking for money.
No.
I'm looking to get better and better myself, and I hope that people don't think that way. I think a majority of them don't. Be pretty ignorant if you thought that way. But I've legitimately been working my ass off, getting better, and I am wanting to hit the road as soon as I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, to me, it just seems so simple. Like you go back, you're like, hey, man, look, I got my healing time. I've got my medications in line if that's the case. Therapy in line, and therapy doesn't stop. Like how many current law enforcement, how many current cops and first responders are in regular therapy, as they should be?
Tons. I agree with that. Absolutely.
Right?
You need that healthy outlet and that voice of reason. And do you feel a certain way, you need to be able to told, oh, this is valid. You need to be validated for those feelings.
Yeah. I just don't understand the issue. I mean, there's been a lot of thought, and I don't know. And it's pure speculation. So I'll say it right out of the gate. Like, it's pure speculation. I have no information that this is the case. My speculation, some of it, or my suspicion on some of it, is like, you're affiliated with me. Your affiliation with Shielded Voices podcast, right? We know that there are people in power that don't like the podcast because they're taking it personally when it has nothing to do with the agency. It's not. It's just the truth is the truth. It just happens to be the agency we work for and the things we've experienced. It's nothing bashing the agency. I've got so many good things to say about that agency. Like I've been with that agency for 16 years. You've got so many good things to say too. Unfortunately, the current climate is not good, and it's just the truth. It just is.
It's unfortunate that they have that opinion of Shielded Voices, because we've helped. I'll be generous, hundreds of people, 100 people, maybe,
Yeah,
through stories, through
yeah,
guests, through.
yep,
And we have close friends that listen, and they say, "Yo, you saved my life."
yes,
Um,
yes,
so I don't understand how an administration could be upset with that.
because it's because you and I have, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's because administrations in general, right?
Yeah,
Their primary focus is perception. That's their primary focus. Their primary focus is not employees. It's not, and that's just the way it is. That's just business. Okay,
business, correct.
accept that. Like you can accept that. Like I talked to well, somebody we work with early on in all this, and was somebody that I taught during their recruit academy, and he comes from military background, and he's like, for me, it's not that big a deal. Like I going into it, I know that like I got to do me and take care of my teammates and administration. It's a business. The wheel's going to keep turning, and if you know that going into it, we all do. Like nobody's expecting the agency we work for to coddle us and like whatever. We're privileged to have a job. We are. Make no mistake. Like they don't owe us shit. They owe us what's legal by labor laws, but we're privileged to have an income and a job. Like I've always said that. Always. So
Yeah. I oftentimes, well, everyone knows this, but command staff forgets where they come from too. And,
sure. Yeah.
They moved into this managerial position.
Yeah.
And they forget where they come from. They drink the Kool-Aid. They chug it.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't come off as bashing our administration. It's not ours specifically. It's everywhere. We talk to numerous guests from all over the country that share the same opinions.
And I think I think it's fear. I mean, we can say that, we use the cliche term drinking the Kool-Aid, but I think at all levels, they're scared, just like right down to the deputy and officer is, right? They're walking on eggshells because the people above them are going to get them in trouble, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, they have to answer to their bosses too. So
yeah,
we see these decisions that administration makes that we don't agree with, and our administration says it came from upstairs. It came from higher than us, and they may have the same feeling about a certain decision that we do, and it's just part of business.
Yeah, it is, and it's unfortunate though that that a person can't just, stand up, because right is right. You know what I mean? Sometimes perception is not going to look good, and like we've said, police work is ugly, and the perception might not look good, but the truth is the truth. But unfortunately, I can tell you in my situation, which we'll cover a little bit, the truth didn't matter.
Oh, and I just had a thought pop up in my head. Brian and I were sitting in briefing. We work at two different precincts, and we have a camera that we use to zoom into these different precincts for our briefings. And we had a lieutenant come in during one of our briefings, and he was talking about recruitment and how we need to do more for recruiting. And that even included lying to potential applicants.
Yeah.
Out of his mouth, he said the word lie. Literally
verbatim.
I messaged Brian and I said, did he really just tell us to lie? I'm sure as shit he did.
And I responded with, sure did. And a guy next to me that was kind of not really paying attention, but kind of, because, we're muted as far as the cameras between the precincts. He looked at me and goes, did he just fucking tell us to lie to people? I go, yeah, sure did. And the context of that is, having recruitment issues, and we take these job applicant ride-alongs. And basically what he said is, yeah, no, like I've heard everything, guys. I've heard all of the, the morale's down, everything like that. And when they ask you, you're going to say, what, am I supposed to lie? Yeah, the answer is yes. I'm telling you right here and now, yes, lie to them. Tell them how good it is here so that we can get bodies in the door. And we were jaw dropped. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Yeah.
And not many people know about that, because I don't think you said that in other briefings.
No, and I think that all it's my understanding that all got dealt with, investigated, and dealt with, and at the time, because that was a year and a half ago. Yeah, I mean, but again, it's and I also want to say too that it was a very emotional, like his emotions got the best of him. I don't, you know what I mean? Like he's trying to drive a point home. I don't think he had any ill intention. I really don't. But again, if we have to be careful about what we say,
absolutely,
even though there's no ill intention or that's not what I meant, weird, not what I meant when I said that, but that's what you're perceiving. Yeah, okay.
It's all about perception.
Which is unfortunate because perception's not always reality.
Correct.
So, yeah. But
moving on. How was your trip to Arizona, Brian?
Oh, man, it was amazing, bro. It was amazing. So I've got like my buddy I grew up with, Ryan, and his wife, Deanna, live down there in the Surprise area in the Greater Valley, just north of Phoenix. I go down there quite often, like I mentioned, but this particular weekend happened to be NASCAR weekend. I've watched NASCAR since like 2000. Our other, we have another friend that lives down there. She's dating a guy who's affiliated with the NASCAR circuit. He basically works for Christopher Bell, the number 20 driver in the Cup Series. And so Saturday, we're hanging out, me and my buddy Ryan, and we're at the driving range. And I can tell you right now, in Arizona, I hit the golf ball so much better. I don't know if it's because of the air, but I could not hit a crooked ball to save my life. I'm wrapping my driver at like 260 plus straight up the middle repeatedly. I was like, I could get used to this.
Good for you.
Anyway, so I get a text from Diane. She's like, hey, I was able to score a VIP pass. I can come get you today. We can hang out at the Xfinity race. And then tomorrow it's good for the whole week. And I'm like, holy, how do I pass this up?
Right.
So she did. My buddy Ryan actually dropped me off at her house. We went to the Xfinity race, and it's weird, man. I'm sitting in, like you're camping, right? There's a whole lot for the drivers that's got all their motor coaches. When I say motor coaches, these things are 45-foot long diesel pushers.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like little campsites. And I'm sitting in these camp chairs with her and her boyfriend that works for Christopher Bell, and like this is Christopher Bell's motor coach. Like him and his wife are in the motor coach. Like it's just a weird, like no big deal. And I'm not a starstruck guy. Like I don't do autographs. I don't like he drives a car. It's cool. I'm jealous that he gets to drive a car. And I even joked, and I'm like, yeah, he should be asking me for my autographs. You know what I've done the last 16 years? Like being funny, right?
Yes.
Just a great experience. I got to be on Sunday for the Cup race. If anybody's ever watched NASCAR, they always do the prayer and the national anthem, pit road. Like I'm on pit road, standing with him, his wife, like doing the prayer, the national anthem, the flyover. And I'm looking up at the stand, like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Hung out in pit row. I stuck around for the first stage of 60 laps where they do a mandatory pit, and got to watch, the pit crew do their thing. And you want to talk about athletes, bro. These guys are jacked. You don't realize it on TV. When you see them kind of, not in all their garb, I'm like, these guys are like special operators. Like these guys are,
wow.
And in between stops, they're literally like what we do for defensive tactics where we shadow box. I'm watching tire changers, like shadow box changing tires. I'm watching the fuelers like shadow, taking the fuel like repeatedly, staying for that race. It's crazy to watch. And then watched after that, I wanted to watch the actual race. You can't see the race from pit road.
Right.
So my friends Ryan and Deanna, we had tickets up in the stands. So, and everywhere I go, by the way, I'm getting like carted around on a golf cart because it's miles of walking because it's VIP. And I did. I got a picture with Christopher Bell and his wife and my friends that got me in like before the race with this card. I'll send it to you. But
that's cool.
And then watch the race, and the race was Hey, man, it was an amazing finish, a drag race to the end. So Christopher Bell has previously won the last two races.
Mhm.
And going into this race, he had said that he's like, man, I feel really confident about Phoenix Track. I feel really good about it. And sure as shit, he won again, 3 in a row.
Awesome. That's cool.
And it was a drag race to the end. And I could have, with my pass, I could have made my way down to winner's circle like before the end of the race, but I would have missed the end of the race.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. They did the burnout right there, NASCAR stuff. And I still could have went to winner's circle, but cool experience. But for me, it's like, man, let the man do his job. Like, yeah. I don't want to. Well, then that was Sunday. And then, I didn't go to winner's circle, let him do his thing. And then Monday, the friend of mine, Diane, hits me up and she's like, hey, I'm going to bring something by for you from Christopher Bell. And I'm like, okay, because you weren't in winner's circle.
Uh-huh.
And he actually autographed it because they does. I'm not saying it was specifically for me. She did it for me. When they win, they do like what people don't realize. There's a hat dance because they have so many sponsors. They stand there with the trophy, literally put a hat on, take a picture, take it off, put another hat on, like dozens of them, right? Sponsors pictures. So anyway, she brought me he drives for Toyota. He brought me a Toyota hat and he had signed the bill. That's the winner's, cool. And it's a winner's circle hat. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, it was a great experience, man. And of course the weather was, 80 some degrees, and I land in Portland and it's 45 and fucking rain.
It's overcast right now.
Oh yeah. Today's been great, but, man, it was just good. I always feel better down there. There's something to the whole older people doing the snowbird thing. And it's like, not like I'm old, but usually within I see that look. Usually within 8 to 10 hours of being in Arizona, like I feel like a new human being. My knees don't hurt anymore. I've gone on runs as part of my workouts down there, but where I can run here.
Uh-huh.
But if I do, I'll barely walk for 3 days after. We're down there. Not a thing. We did Deanna and I, she gets up every morning. She's into fitness too. My buddy Ryan's not, he don't give a fuck. He's like, whatever, you guys have fun. Good for him. But we did like a almost 3.5 mile, like with the dogs.
Nice.
And it felt great.
Yeah.
Felt great.
And why is that? Is it just
the dry
south of the equator? Because
it's the dry. Yeah, because here that like there's so much moisture in the air, right? It hurts the joints. It just does. So this week I decided, part of my fitness program is I usually do 5 or 6 weeks on, and then I take a week off. I do nothing, right? Let the body heal. Mm-hmm. Well, when I was in Arizona, I mean, I didn't really work. I was there Wednesday to Monday. Like I did like the walk thing, and then Saturday was a shit ton of like fast walking around the track, which is not a workout. I'm like, man, whatever. It keeps the body moving. So I decided this week I'm not. This is going to be my off week. I'm taking the whole week off because I started looking at it, and I haven't had a week off from workouts since August. So I thought,
that makes sense.
I'm like, I should probably take a week off.
It's like every time I text you, you're working out, or you're getting ready to do a workout, or you're in the hot tub after a workout.
Or after a workout, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it was awesome, man. It was just awesome. I want to live there. If I could take my kids and my grandkids, it's the only thing that keeps me here.
Yeah.
And some other things that are going to be keeping me here that we'll talk about too. But that was awesome.
You just gave a little wink. I'm excited.
I gave a little wink. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, I can, I don't know. I can get right into reading this if you want. Like I'm good with it.
Let's do
it. I got nothing to hide, man.
Yeah.
I got nothing to hide. So, after 16, little over 16 years of dedicated service to the sheriff's office, I am resigning. And I know everybody knew that was coming, but I also want to be open. I want to be transparent. I've said from the beginning, I have nothing to hide. I think what people have done is wrong. I'm not going to say the agency. I'm not going to say the sheriff. I love our sheriff. Absolutely love our sheriff. I really do. It's bureaucratic bullshit, and it's time to go. And again, not that I may have had a choice or may not have had a choice. I don't know. I've had certain labor lawyers tell me that they could fight this and have my job back in minutes. Not that I've lost my job, but I've been on administrative and medical leave this whole time. So yeah. So I think, and if you're good with it, because I am fully transparent, and I would like to read the email that I have drafted to the sheriff, and then actually read my resignation letter. And the reason I want to read all this is for those people out there that are affiliated. I know how it works, right? People leave and they're like, oh, and everybody, rumor this, rumor that.
Right.
Well, this is just going to be the truth.
Yeah, and you have the platform to share it. So,
and I've got the platform to share it, and it's not about bashing the agency. It truly, truly is not. There's going to be some things said that are truth, and it sounds harsh, but it's not with harsh intent. It's just transparent truth on what took place. A little bit of what took place. As far as full details of the investigation, now that I'm no longer working for the agency, if anybody wants to know, call me. I will tell you everything. I will let you listen. I will let you sit down and listen to all of my recorded interviews so that you have the full scope of it. I have nothing to hide. Never have. So, yeah, I mean, what do you think? Should we just do that, or?
Yeah, I think that'll be good.
Okay.
It's going to be emotional, and there's, I got something to say to you afterwards, but yeah, let's jump into it.
Well, here's the email draft, and I'm not going to use names. Sheriff Blank. I have attached a letter in PDF form to this email. I genuinely hope you read it in its entirety. Please know there is no intention on my part of being harsh or having any malice. This is simply transparency and truth. I am and always have been a believer in you as a leader, and I truly hope you are able to effect change within the sheriff's office. I have included my direct supervisor, the administrative sergeant, as well as a WC representative in this email. The representative has agreed to act on my behalf regarding my personal belongings in my locker, as well as my assigned cubby in the equipment room. The representative agreed to also handle any equipment that needs to be turned in on my behalf as well. And then I signed it with my name. So that's the body of the email. And the letter that I'm going to attach, I'll pull that up. And again, I'm hoping the sheriff reads it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect anything to come out of it. I just want to be transparent. So, again, I'm gonna do my best to leave names out of this because I'm reading it. Sheriff Blank. I submit this letter of resignation with a heavy heart. This decision has not come easily, and I want to clarify that it is not an admission of guilt to the accusations against me. It is a result of several factors that I feel compelled to address. I was not deceptive or dishonest in any way during this investigation. In a recorded interview, Detective Sergeant Blank used deception and misleading language to limit his responsibility and protect his image. He used, quote, wordplay, unquote, to make it appear portions of our phone conversation did not happen, which in fact they did, and at one point stated that I was the one that was dishonest. After reporting this to investigators, I was unsurprised that no action had been taken to address Detective Sergeant Blank's dishonesty. Please refer to the recorded PSU interview. Sergeant Blank, different sergeant, not the detective sergeant. Sergeant Blank used coercive interrogation tactics in an attempt to steer the investigation during the initial SRAM interview. By his own admission, he stated he used to, quote, lie to coworkers about being down paper so he didn't have to write a report, unquote, while he was on patrol as a deputy, in an attempt to get me to say the same. Please refer to the recorded SRAM interview. This investigation cared more about protecting the agency and those in power than it did about the truth. I hope those who engage in deception and self-preservation at the expense of others will one day be held accountable. During the first PSU interview, it was very apparent the only factors being presented were nothing but aggravating factors. Every portion of body cam evidence being presented was heavily edited and clipped, not showing the entire picture. On a few occasions, I had to ask, quote, "Where's the rest of that footage? Why did it get cut off?" Unquote. Because of these issues, I asked for a second meeting interview. During that meeting, I asked to see other deputies' body cam footage that were on scene. They were not able to present any footage right away and stated they had never watched any other deputies' footage during the investigation. How can a thorough investigation be done then? Please refer to PSU interview number 2. While being given, quote, discipline, unquote, for the original SRAM, Commanders blank and blank spent several minutes talking about how my integrity and character were impeccable and never in question. How then did the IA not simply come to a halt? Why were none of these factors considered? Once again, quote, the good old boy club, unquote, prevailed. I value our conversations and believe in your ability to make meaningful changes within the sheriff's office. We are facing a staffing crisis unlike any we have seen before. While recruitment is often our top priority, retention is the true challenge. When good deputies are supported, they naturally recruit others. Right now, deputies leave because they feel undervalued and unsupported and see little opportunity for professional growth and promotion. I urge you to seek out the unfiltered truth from your deputies who continue to carry out the mission. This journey has taken an immense personal toll on me. This is the second time in my career that I have been placed on administrative leave and investigated for something I absolutely did not do. Administrative leave is an isolating process, and I have watched my best friends cast me aside to avoid the political risk of associating with me. The combined organizational stress and trauma that comes with this job have nearly cost me my family. They come first. I am incredibly proud of my 16 years of decorated and dedicated service with the Sheriff's Office. I have served the public with integrity and proudly represented this agency by upholding our core values. I will continue to advocate for positive change in the law enforcement profession and focus on supporting first responders in their journeys toward healing and resilience. This is the character and integrity of the man writing this letter. And under that portion, I put a YouTube link. And that YouTube link is some news stories about me over the years. Please accept my formal resignation from the Sheriff's Office. I am more than willing to have further conversation with you if you desire. I'm an open book. I had and continue to have high hopes for you as a leader of the Sheriff's Office. I am a blank believer. Respectfully, Brian. And the blank believer, I use the sheriff's name.
Wow.
That's my letter. And really the biggest thing for me through this entire journey is the people that have surrounded me. Guys like you, Matt, other people we've mentioned. Man, without all of you, there's no way I would have even gotten through this unscathed. I would say, for lack of a better term, not that I've been unscathed, but I just a massive thank you to everybody out there that I've had an effect on, even negatively. I'm sorry for that. I ask you for some grace and mercy in that. I'm not the same man that I used to be. I promise you that. And I just want to thank you, Mitch, and everybody else out there for supporting me through this whole journey. I truly, truly appreciate it. And that got a hit in me.
Yeah.
That concludes 16 years of literal blood, sweat, and tears. It's
It's not closing a book, though. It's changing a chapter.
It is. It's we're starting a new book, right?
Yeah.
And like I've said all along, it's okay. God is leading me in a different direction. And I'm excited about it. But I need to be like clear and, because of the transparency and the truth. since this resignation letter, I've had regular correspondence with our sheriff, and I want everybody to know that I stand behind her. I truly do stand behind her. She has been nothing but supportive since I have turned that letter in. Um, I would like to read the responses that she gave me, only so that everybody can see how true to her word she is. However, I don't have her permission to do that, so I'm not going to. But what I will say is she is very supportive and very concerned with the things that I addressed, and is working diligently to address, some of the cultural issues we've talked about. So I hope people don't have this rumor going around that, it was a quit or be fired situation, because it was never that. Never. So the most important thing is, man, I want people to know that she is a woman of her word, and I stand behind her, and she has been supportive through this.
Well, I have something for you, Brian.
Okay.
This is something I wrote for you, okay? So bear with me. I might get emotional too.
Well, I'm already crying. What are you going to do? All right.
Today, we take a moment to recognize and honor a major transition in the life of someone who means a hell of a lot to this podcast, to his brothers and sisters in law enforcement, and to me personally, Brian. After 16 years of dedicated service, Brian is stepping away from the sheriff's office. And while I know this isn't an easy decision, I also know that it doesn't change the kind of man he is or the impact he's made. Brian, you have spent years serving with honor, training the next generation, leading in the toughest situations, and standing shoulder to shoulder with your brothers and sisters in moments most people will never understand. You have been a mentor, a warrior, and most importantly, a man of faith and integrity through it all. Walking away from the job isn't just about leaving a career, it's leaving a way of life. The shift in identity, the brotherhood, and the purposes that come with wearing the badge. None of that disappears overnight. And while I know this transition comes with its challenges, I also know that you're not done making this impact. Your purpose is bigger than a uniform, Brian. It always has been. The work you've done, the lives you touched, and the differences you've made don't stop just because the badge comes off. And thankfully, Shielded Voices isn't losing you. We're just seeing you step into a new chapter. We talk a lot about breaking the stigma and having hard conversations. And this is one of them. Leaving the job is emotional, it's heavy, and it's something more officers will face at some point in their journey. But if anyone can take the next step with strength, with faith, and with the same heart for service, it's you. So, brother, on behalf of everyone you've worked with, trained, protected, and inspired, thank you. Thank you for your 16 years of dedication, for the sacrifice you and your family have made, and for the example you've set. The badge may come off, but your legacy doesn't. This isn't the end, it's just the next mission. And we're all standing right beside you as you take it on.
Jesus, man. Thank you. Jesus.
We love you, brother.
Oh, man, I love you too. That was, wow. One of the things that I thought about is not having that. You see retirements, because in my mind and my family's mind, I'm retiring from law enforcement. And you see that, everybody gets a shadow box. Everybody gets, the people that stand up and say shit. But what you just did tops all of that, man. Thank you. Like that tops all of that. I wouldn't trade that. I wouldn't want all the other stuff. I'd rather have that from you. Thank you. But yes, it's a new chapter. So even with all of that, some of the things that cops, like Jess Flores talks about with the next shift, right? That struggle of finding purpose and motivation. Like, now what? Well, I can say probably I don't know, it's been a few years ago during the first administrative leave crap when I was accused of something that I didn't do. a friend so my wife does commercial property management, right? Big commercial industrial, like properties all over the Portland metro area. And obviously she hires vendors, plumbing companies, HVAC companies, electricians, landscapers, you name it. Well, through that, one of the companies that, and I'm not going to use names, one of the companies that she hires a plumbing company, very large commercial industrial plumbing company. We have become friends with the owner and his wife. This is a man of like fits into my circle, and I fit into his circle because his moral compass is on point. His integrity is on point. Mm-hmm. He's a Christian dude. And we just became friends. Like he's former Marine Corps, like hardcore Marine Corps. Yeah. Like he's Semper Fi all the way. Which I fuck with him about, of course. And he fucks with me, right? That's just what you do. But have become friends, and he does things like the clients that he has. Because he's into guns and stuff like that, he takes them on like sage rat shoots out in Eastern Oregon, right, where you hire people, and there's a safari. I think it's called Safari Sage Rat Outfitters or Sage Outfitters. Look into them if you're listening. The guy that runs it is fucking outstanding. He's a distance shooter, shoots a 1 mile target, and will set up a gun for you to shoot a 1 mile target. Super fun. But anyway, the owner of this company takes clients out there that are into that kind of stuff, right? Just as a thank you. Well, my wife is like, I have no interest in going and shooting sage rats. Take my husband. Over the years, so I've gone with him, and I've taken my son, and and while there, he's also big on wanting people to learn how to be gunfighters. So I've kind of taken on the role over the years because it's just fun of teaching people how to shoot tactically, how to be gunfighters, not gun shooters. Like last year, we even set up a screened. Keep in mind, we're out in the middle of desert Eastern Oregon. Just like I can see Table Rock, like Table Rock's on this property, and set up like a quasi screen shoot house, and teaching people to go through that. Right, cool. So anyway, a few years ago, through the whole first administrative leave stuff, he's like, "Look, Mick, just come to work. Get out of the cop shit." And I'm like, "I'm a cop. I'm a cop forever." Now, I have a background in HVAC, commercial industrial HVAC, install service work. Before being a cop, I was an account representative, account manager. Like I was the face of the company, and I loved that part of it, right? So, he kept saying, he's like, well, even back then, he's like, I want to open up an HVAC division and I want to come, we can bring it all into one. And of course I'm a cop, like I got a career. So through all of this, like I still keep in touch with him. He is very closely affiliated with law enforcement. He has family, a brother, former police officer in this area, who's been through his own agency bullshit. So this guy gets it, right? So I guess probably it was about a month or so ago, wife and I are going to meet him and his wife for lunch because we're all friends. And we get there, and it's just him. His wife, she's like last minute had to go. She does real estate, had to go show a property, commercial property. And I told my wife on the way to this lunch, I said, I have a feeling this isn't just a lunch. She's like, what are you talking about? And said their names. Mm-hmm. I go, yeah, but I think he's gonna talk about a job. I just have this feeling. She's like, huh, okay. And the funny thing is, he wants to hire her too. So we don't know who it's going to be for, right? Like, who knows? Or he's talked about hiring her in the past, but so yeah, we have lunch, and it's all the same, talking life and, things, or this is what's happening here and this and that. And he literally, we're at this kind of this, bougie little burger joint in the Selwood area. And he literally, I'm not even joking, man, pushes his chair back, puts his feet up on the chair across from him, and looks dead at me. He goes, all right, let's talk business, dude. Are you ready to do this or what? Like, I looked at my wife, I said, I told you.
Knew it.
Yeah. So yeah, man, through all of this, I have been hired to be project manager, estimator, and to help get an HVAC division off the ground, which I'm super excited about. We already have 4 technicians. The plumbing side is huge, like the commercial. And so now it's like I'm being brought in to help get this off the ground, bring in new business and glean from the business that's already there. And again, I'm going to say this next part because I want people to understand, kind of like Jess Flores talks about. It's not about the money you make; it's about the purpose. And my biggest thing is working with somebody and in an environment where there's integrity. I don't have to worry about spineless turds. You know what I mean? Because I've dealt with that, and I don't have room for that in my life anymore. Man, I'm 52. And I'm not saying I dealt with that in law enforcement. I have, but that's not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about in life. So here's what I will say. Going into this next phase of my, I guess, I started at military HVAC, cop work, back to HVAC.
Right.
But God had a purpose, man, coming out of the military for getting into HVAC. And I think this is it. He needed me in law enforcement. And now, because of the experience I have in the commercial HVAC stuff, I'm coming back full circle and going to round out my working life. And there's light at the end of the tunnel for people. Like the management skills that people have as officers and deputies, business owners seek that. And the fact that you can literally walk up and talk to anybody, because that's your job, that's a skill.
Yeah, you have a lot of life skills that you bring over.
Yeah. And I will say, this environment is going to be amazing. Like, I know him. I know the environment. Talk about having fun going to work every day. Oh, did I mention a company car?
No.
And better benefits. When I say better benefits, I don't pay a dime, dude.
Wow.
I don't pay a dime. And I will say, without getting into, I won't say dollar amounts, it's more money.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, it's just the truth. And I honestly, it genuinely is not about the money for me. It's about integrity and having people that believe in the mission and believe in the people they work for. And this whole team of people, when I interviewed, I had to meet the other managers involved, and I was there for 2 hours. And I told him, I said, I'm an open book. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on with me. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on emotionally with PTSI, with this agency stuff. And they were so very thankful that I was just open about it. I'm like, man, this is me. Like, if I work here, this is what you're going to get. You ask me a question, I'm going to tell you the truth. Now, unless you say, hey, does this dress make me look fat? I'm going to avoid that question because I've been married a long time. But yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at, dude. And what's crazy is, like, this last weekend when I was in Arizona, I get a call from my now new boss, and he's like, hey man, first ordered task of you as a new employee is I need you to open your phone up right now and black out the dates, like May 30th through June 1st. And I go, for what? He goes, well, black it out first. I'm like, okay. So I get on my phone and I'm like, what am I putting in here? He goes, well, that's the Sage Rat shoot this year. And I go, and in my brain, I'm like, yeah, but I'm not a client anymore, right? My wife's still a client.
Yeah.
But now I work for the company. Like, he said, nope. So basically your task is to be, because you do this, you shoot rats in the field, and then there's a whole range where we take people over and you shoot targets, and you can do a 1 mile shoot in the shoot house that we set up and blah, 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 blah. And he said, nope, you are, you're going to be my RFO for that whole weekend. The range field officer. You're going to be the guy that's, I want you, like, you're interacting with our clients, and they're all people I know that I go do this with every year. I've done so many times, but I'm getting paid to do it now.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Right? Like,
so many opportunities and so many new adventures.
Yeah, man. Like,
there is life outside of law enforcement.
There is life outside of law enforcement. You know, even just a couple weeks ago on a Wednesday, typically Wednesday nights, my wife and I, that's like our date night. And she's busy dealing with like her elderly parents. And so I hit up a couple buddies, like outside of cop work, right? One of them was Matt, you know, we've had on here, but another guy that I've known for years. And we're sitting there on a Wednesday evening having dinner and a drink out on a Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sitting there, and I kind of sit back in my chair, and I've got this reflective look on my face, according to Matt. He's like, "What are you thinking?" I go, "Dude, it's a Wednesday night, and I'm sitting here with two of my buddies having dinner and a drink."
Yeah.
Like, and of course, my other buddy that's a civilian, he's like, "I don't, what's happening right now? I don't understand." And Matt gets it because he's a cop. He's like, "Yeah, dude, this is what life should be. This is it." And I'm like, I haven't been able to do that in years.
Right.
Years. Thanksgiving this last year, my wife and I are driving up to have Thanksgiving dinner at family. Same kind of somber silence. She's like, "Babe, what are you thinking?" And I went, "Oh, if I'm being honest, I'm trying to do math, and we know how that works. So I'm thinking really hard." But I think what I figured out was, I kind of looked at her and said, I think this is the first Thanksgiving in 9 years that I've actually got to do Thanksgiving.
Been able to attend, yeah.
Right. Like,
and not just stopping by in uniform, you know.
Right. Yeah. You're actually having Thanksgiving dinner with your family. Like
any holiday.
Any holiday. Yeah, pick it. Christmas or like when he gave me this whole final, like, you know, this job offer thing, and you know, these paid holidays, and I literally started laughing. And he's like, "What is funny?" I go, "Oh, holidays off? Are you serious?" Like, I'm not used to that. No, we have ILH in lieu of holidays. You get holiday pay, but you're working.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like cops can be like, "Oh, Christmas off." I mean, everybody knows that. So like, I'm actually going to have a Christmas Eve and a Christmas.
You are going to have a normal life.
Yeah. And it's scary.
Sure.
Like, I'm scared out of my mind, dude. I'm scared of failing. I'm not afraid of making mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I bring on the mistakes, because that's, you know, without trials, we don't have perseverance. Perseverance builds character. So making mistakes and learning from them, great. But this responsibility for me now is there's a group of people at this company that rely on me to essentially glean business so that they have paychecks and can support their family. And that's not a small thing, man.
Right. Didn't you have a conversation with your boss about failing him, and that's why he wants you?
I did. Yeah. I told him, I said, I'll be honest, man. I'm afraid of failing you. I'm afraid of coming in there and my fear is like failing you. And he kind of grinned and he's like, "Yeah, that's why I want you to work for me." Right. Yeah. Like that's why I'm talking to you, because of that character.
And he's seen your morals and your ethics and your values. He knows you.
Yeah. And he does. It's going to be a difficult, I'd say it's going to be difficult. We talked about, like, hey, the other thing, my other fear is like, well, I'm friends with this guy. Now, when I say friends, it's not like, we don't, like, the families don't vacation together. The kids didn't grow up together, right? It's through events, but we're still friends. And we just have to come to, like, if something goes south, well, we just both have to be men enough to go, okay, that's business. And we're still going to go hang out and shoot guns, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't foresee it happening. And man, here's the other thing, bro. This 2-hour interview conversation with the owner of the company, a female project manager, and 2 other males, one other project manager, and one of them is like basically going to be the service manager, the head HVAC tech right now, right? We're still getting this figured out. But it's me, 3 other dudes and a female sitting in the room. And I've I've never, like, I can't tell you how many times the word retard came out. And I kind of winced, and I'm like, oh,
Oof.
like, oh, Jesus, I'm getting fired. I'm getting fired. I'm getting fired. They're laughing. Like, really? No. No, welcome to real life, right? Like,
Yeah.
now, obviously, there's big corporate America jobs that you can't do that in, but it's real people, man. And I'm so super excited. I can't wait. It's so much fun. I'm so excited. So
We're all excited for you. And we're glad that you're not leaving Shielded Voices either.
no, and we should probably make that clear. Like, it's going to be, obviously, like, I'm back to the Monday through Friday, right? But
Yeah.
I think we'll do the best we can. I think we've talked about it before. We have a goal of, an episode a month, which is going to have to take place, on a Saturday or Sunday, to be honest with you, because I'm Monday through Friday, and I don't know, nobody knows what days off you're going to have when you go back.
Most likely Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right. So we're going to have to.
But it'll be day shift, and we're going to have to do evenings. This is a whole logistical thing we're going to have to.
Yeah, but we're not going away. Correct. There's no way.
No.
Matter of fact, one of the things I even said in talking to these managers, I even talked about this podcast. I gave them all one of our cards. And I said, please understand, this is a passion. This is something I'm never going to stop doing. I'm never going to stop advocating for the mental health side and the first responder side of my life. I will never stop that. And if there's any way possible that I can get this company involved in that, which the owner of this company would be all about it,
cool.
Sponsoring events or whatever, because he's just that kind of guy. But
that's cool.
Yeah. So,
and we do have business cards. So if you know us
we
personally and you want a few to hand out, let us know.
Yeah. Yes, please do. I actually handed out. I ran out in Arizona.
Did you?
Oh yeah. But I only had like 6 or 7 with me, right? But I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, you imagine a NASCAR race. There's freaking cops everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And I talked to one guy. He's a listener now. I talked to him pretty extensively. What's up, Paulie? I won't use last names, but Maricopa County. I did not realize how. I mean, we've always said that the agency you work for, my former agency, whatever, largest agency in the state, right?
Right.
Bro, we are kindergarten compared to that place.
Really?
They're having a deputy deficit, and they've got over 400 patrol deputies.
Jeez.
Patrol deputies.
Right. Huh.
Like, wow. But they are the largest by per capita and even space, the largest county in Arizona. But no, it was super awesome. I didn't have any, typically we do like a patch exchange, right? You go to different states or different countries. I didn't have a patch, but he did. I sent you a picture. Don't say what it is, because I don't want him to get in trouble. But no, I'm just kidding. He won't get in trouble.
That was a cool one.
Yeah, it was cool. So I got that, and he actually said he's going to hit us up. He'd like to come on. He goes, man, he's 11-year SWAT guy, counterterrorism unit. He's like, I don't want to talk about the trauma. I want to talk about the fun shit. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we could do that.
Like,
too.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Hit us up. So, it was a good time, man. It was just meeting people and just being open. I wouldn't say almost, but I was ready to be physically violent with a guy in an elevator there. When I say physically violent, I was just going to take control. So,
what was he doing?
So there's the VIP pass, right? I got to go up to the spotters booth, and because the guy that got me the tickets, during the Xfinity race, he was spotting for one of the drivers. So I got to go, which was amazing, dude. Like, I'm lit. All the spotters are up there. And anyway, there's this elevator that goes up like 5 or 6 floors. And there's an elevator operator operating it with a key. That you don't just sit and wait for an elevator, right? There's so many people going up and down. And this, mid-90s guy and his wife come staggering onto the elevator. And it's packed. And instead of moving all the way to the back of the elevator, because he's 90-something years old, he stays up kind of close to the front door so he can get out, right? Because he's literally holding on to his wife.
Yeah.
We get up to the next floor, the doors open, and there's this little bit taller, I'm guessing maybe late 50s, early 60s kind of guy. Obviously, he's probably been drinking a little bit. It's NASCAR, whatever. And the door's open. He literally looks at this old man. He goes, "Well, move back." And we're all looking around like this elevator's kind of, and we're like, oh, they know each other. Like these guys are fucking with each other, right? No. He literally takes a step towards this old man. He goes, "Are you going to move back or am I going to move you back?" Nope. Nope. I stepped forward and around and I looked at the guy. I go, "Get the fuck out of the elevator or get the fuck in the elevator. Pick one." And I just stared at him and he's like, "He needs to move back." And the guy goes, "Sir," and he's like, "Sir, I'm 92 years old. I'm trying to stay, but I don't give a shit. Move back." And I looked at the elevator lady. I go, "We're fucking done here." And I pointed my finger at him. I go, "Get the fuck out or get in. Which is it?" And he begrudgingly steps in. Now we're packed. And I mean, when I say packed, Mitch, I'm standing sideways like this, and he's right here facing this way, and I'm staring at his temple. And he starts to say something because the old guy is now standing in front of him. He starts to say something, and my mouth is probably 4 inches from the side of his face. And I literally, I said it. He started to say something. I said it just like this. I go, "Don't even open your fucking mouth. Don't fucking do it, dude." He just starts grumbling. I go, "Nobody even wants to hear you fucking breathe." And everybody in there goes, "That's right. Amen. Nobody wants to hear you." I'm sorry. I am not, cop or not, dude. I will never stand for somebody that's vulnerable being bullied and taken, and like never.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Never. No. And I mean, there were other guys in the elevator, like they weren't as vocal as they weren't like Brian about it, but they were like, "Dude, just shut up. He's 90. Leave him alone." Where I was like,
stand up for him.
Yeah. And my friend Diane, she's standing behind me because I stood between her and, I mean, even she's got her boyfriend there. Like he could take care of it. It's not, it's just natural, right? Yeah. She's like tugging on my sweatshirt, like stop, you know. And we get off. I go, "What were you tugging on my sweatshirt about?" She's like, "Oh, what if he would have punched you?" And I went, I literally laughed. I go, "Are you being serious right now?" Like, first, not because I'm super tough, but compared to like, please. But we are so packed in this elevator. I mean, you can't even lift your arms. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? There's not going to be any punching going on. I would have had to, like, you know, trip him or something. We were so packed in there.
Tug of war.
Yeah, and I go. First of all, like, it's not even in your room to punch. And I'm like, you know how many times I've been punched? Like, it's a Tuesday. Like, whatever. Like, who cares? Like, it's just, it was just kind of, it's, you know, it's shit like that. Like, come on, man. Guy's 90-something years old. Quit being a drunk idiot. Fuck. There's always one. But...
Always. It's NASCAR. It is NASCAR.
And it's NASCAR, right?
You have to have alcohol to watch so many left turns.
Oh, stop it.
Stop it. They do left turn.
They do road courses now. It was actually, this is probably my, I don't know, probably my 10th race. I used to go to the Texas race every year. Okay. And usually it's just, I mean, everything else was great. Like everybody you're sitting around, you know, everybody likes different drivers. So there's the friendly, you know, banter back and forth. And it's everybody's just, it's crazy. It's this big community and everybody's just getting along.
You know? That's NASCAR and rednecks.
That's right. Oh, I wouldn't even say the redneck thing. You should see some of we'll call them people.
Okay.
That I'm okay. Cool. You like NASCAR?
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And good for them. Whatever. You know, you want to.
Entertainment.
Yeah, you're a 6'1" dude wearing pink Daisy Dukes with pink Crocs, a half cut shirt and a pink cowboy hat, but you like NASCAR. Good for you, dude. I'm sure.
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
To say, but
to each their own.
Yep. Keep it to
that
myself.
was a good time. Good time.
I'm sure you could hear it in the background.
I can. Yeah.
So I got one more thing to read for you, Brian. Then this is going to kind of wrap it up.
This is going to
Okay.
wrap it up. This is the
Don't make me cry anymore,
this is
man.
going to be our outro. So, you got
Okay.
anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
Nah, man, I'm good.
All right. As we wrap up this episode, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the weight of what we talked about today. Brian, your story, your decision to step away after 16 years of service, it's deep because it's something so many officers face but don't want to talk about. The emotions, the uncertainty, the identity shift, it's all real. And today, you showed exactly why this conversation matters. To those listening, whether you're still wearing a badge, thinking about leaving, or already on the other side, know this: you are more than the job. Your purpose doesn't end when the uniform comes off. The brotherhood, the lessons, the impact you've made, none of that disappears. And if this conversation resonates with you, reach out. Talk to someone. You don't have to go through it alone. Brian, you may be stepping away from the department, but you're not stepping away from us. This might sound cliche, but we've got your six, always. And to everyone out there, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and never be afraid to have those hard conversations. We'll see you next time on Shielded Voices.
Thank you, brother. Love you.
Love you too.